It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose, Friday, September 2nd, 2022. I was getting all excited that like it was 9/2/2, like, you know, it's the second of the month and 2022, but 9 just doesn't cut it with like it's not an auspicious number. I don't think 9/2/2022.
You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or you can go to radiozero.us. We've got an RSS feed on there. We're live streaming on Facebook and on the Radio Zero. We're live streaming on Facebook on the Radio Zero page and Poster Children page. We're on Twitch at PCJC USA and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. You can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. Thank you to everyone who is patronizing us.
Philip Seidner says hi. Hello.
Hello.
Well, thanks for listening. There's a million things going on, but we can't tell you any of them.
We can't.
So.
Yesterday.
After 2.5 years.
Not yesterday. Today. I just did a COVID test and I tested positive. So
we're all going to die. So it's really been nice talking to you all.
So our youngest stayed home sick on Monday.
Yeah.
Felt really sick. Had been to school for a week and then came home and, over the weekend started feeling really bad and kept him home. Didn't test him because I don't know why we didn't test him. Why didn't we test him?
Because every time we've ever tested ourselves, it's been negative. It's always negative.
Right.
We've never had nobody in this house. Well, Graham said he had it once.
Yeah. But then, I took the former Dairy King to college yesterday. Did the college load-in. Got that all done.
Infected everybody.
No. At his school, there was a mask policy everywhere. So everywhere I went, I was wearing a mask, even in the dorm. So loading into the dorm, wearing a mask. So
yeah, I saw all the pictures you guys sent. Oh, God damn it! I'm plugged into the outlet and touching my lips to the mic. Everywhere every picture.
I do not understand why that only. So everything should be grounded.
Well, anyway, all your pictures, you guys all had masks on. And he sent a picture this morning, and he had a mask on.
Yeah. But then as I was driving home, I started feeling pretty weird. And we walked. It was a lot of walking. I did the most number of steps I've done since our vacation 3 years ago. Just walking around.
You said
Chicago.
Yeah. When you got home yesterday, you're like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get out of bed tomorrow.
Yeah. So I drove home, stopped at Wally's, and then when I got out of the car at Wally's, I almost fell over. I was like, oh whoa, I overdid it. I walked too much because we did the thing where you walk around looking at all the classrooms. He's going to Columbia College Chicago, so all the campus. We were wandering around the campus, and it's a bunch of buildings. In Chicago, and then we walked. Where did we walk? We walked down to the Target, so like a half mile from his dorm, and then went shopping at Target.
Was it hot there too?
And it was hot.
Yeah.
And then spent a good hour and a half in Target, and then did the classic carrying bags of groceries a half mile to the dorm. Jeez. And then what was interesting is that once we got to the dorm, they weren't allowing parents in after 6 o'clock.
Because they had COVID.
No, because they don't want a bunch of people hanging around the dorms while they're trying to move in everybody. And so they're locking it down. And so I had to stand there with some of the groceries while he went upstairs, and then he came back down. And while I was there was a mother calling her daughter and saying, so apparently we're going to have to eat our carry-out here in the lobby because they're not letting me into the building. And the daughter's like, what? And this is all on the speakerphone, too. So, I have to hear this insipid, angry Karen conversation. You
used the K word.
I did, because it was classic. It was just just so angry. And I was just like, well, I already knew. I had known that they weren't going to allow. Like, they didn't even want you there for more than the 2-hour move-in window. They were scheduling it all, and it was great. The move-in happened so quickly and so smoothly, considering it was, on Clark Street and in Chicago on a Thursday afternoon. It was crazy busy, and there were a bunch of people double parked out front. And
so where did you park for the
I
move-in?
parked around the block, and then
Okay.
we just took this big giant cardboard box with a wheeled cart and filled it with everything of his that was in the car, and it just took one trip, and we rolled it down the street. There were people, like, later when we went out for lunch, there were people rolling a cart from like 4 or 5 blocks away. I don't know. Like, I think some people were saying they had stuff in a storage. Probably people who were upper or, not freshmen, right? So they maybe store stuff over the summer. And so, yeah, it was like we were walking like 4 or 5 blocks away from the college area and the dorm, and there was a family with a big giant box on wheels rolling it through like the 80-degree heat. It was pretty neat. But yeah, anyways, so I didn't feel good last night. I woke up in a sweat, and then I still continued to not feel good all day. And so I finally took the test, and it came out positive. So, yeah.
So we probably need to tell our faculty, since you were in the faculty meeting.
But I did, yeah.
Yeah,
and
you
so
wore the mask and the. Yeah.
I did wear a mask the whole time I was there today. So, and with the timing of the holiday, I will have completed my quarantine by the time I go back.
It's 5 days. Oh, that's too bad, man. It's 5 days.
As
Is it still 5 days?
First presentation of symptoms.
And that's okay. But what if you still feel sick? It just doesn't. You just go back anyway.
5 days. So
yeah.
they said that 0 day is. So that would have been last night.
Oh.
And then I have to wear a mask. So yeah.
All I have is a sore throat, and I just don't feel like. But I always have this same stupid sore throat.
Yeah, you probably don't have it.
I had big plans this weekend. I really did. And I'm not coughing, and you and Dow are coughing like crazy.
Yeah,
so,
you probably don't have it.
Well, or I have a different variant.
I think it's more likely that you have it, and it's less. Your symptoms are less intense.
How many tests do we have? We have enough for me to test today, and then like another day.
We have 7 now.
If I find out that I have COVID, I'm gonna go lay. I'm gonna be like, holy shit, I feel terrible, and I'm gonna go lay in bed. I'm gonna be like right now, I'm like the roadrunner who's run off the cliff, and he doesn't know. He's just ignoring it.
Well, that was the thing. Is this week I thought, oh yeah, Dow got sick, and then he got something, and then I didn't feel sick, and was fine. So, but then yeah, it just took a couple of days.
God damn it. Well, all right. So I felt sick last night. So if I was with that, if I test positive, that was yesterday, my day 0 then?
I guess it depends.
Because I laid down in the middle of the day. I was like, well, I'll just go lay down in the middle of the day.
Have you been feverish?
I don't know.
I definitely was not feverish until last night.
How high was your fever?
I don't know. I know what I feel like when I have a fever, which is that I feel hot, and then when I got out at Wally's, I had a chill. I got a chill when I got back into the car.
Yeah.
And then all last night I was sweating. I woke up and my night shirt was completely sweaty, so it was like, okay, I have a fever. So if you don't have a fever,
I wouldn't know. I didn't feel great, but I sweat my ass off every night, but that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you can still, the coyote runs off the cliff. Thank you, Nam.
The roadrunner
stops.
Fine.
Yeah. The coyote runs off the cliff, and the roadrunner stops. So it's the coyote. So I'm the coyote. Thank you. It must be COVID brain. That's nice that Nam is listening. Hi, Nam. Okay. So
I do feel kind of like what I felt like in late February of 2020. So
sick. Yeah,
Actually,
we
I
had.
was much worse in late
Oh,
February
you were
2020.
deathly
so,
ill.
Yeah, I nearly
All of us
felt
were.
like I died,
Yeah.
nearly died. But
Yeah.
so this must be what being vaxxed feels like.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about, because they just came out today, oh, you should go get there's another shot you can get. And I was like, oh, fuck. Really? Because every time I get a shot, I get so sick. And I was sitting in the car today before I knew you had COVID, and I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to get that next vaccine. I can't take it again. I can't take. And then I was thinking, well, I wonder how bad it feels when you're sick, and then.
Well, I just got a booster in July. So I just got my most recent booster in July. So that's unfortunate too. It's like, okay. So I was contemplating not getting the booster
Yeah.
and waiting until for the Omicron, right?
Yeah.
Booster.
Right. But you got it.
But I got it. But now it's like, I probably should have waited.
Well, it's 2 months. You can get it after 2 months. You can get the new vaccine.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to get it though. Oh, I hate getting so sick. But
Have
then
you
I
had
was
a fourth shot yet?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you did have a fourth shot.
Yeah. So I was thinking that that maybe the fact that I got so sick, then that's why I haven't gotten it yet. I haven't gotten the COVID yet, but I probably have it. All right. So okay. So can you tell us some more about dropping your, it's like people are like, "Oh, are you okay?" I know a lot of people who it destroys, when they drop their kids off at college. They, this is our first kid who went off to college, but I kind of feel like he's been gone since first grade anyway. He's always off in his room and stuff. And just knowing how happy he is, and I don't know.
Yeah, he's fairly independent. He's been in the city before. He's traveled on public transport all around the world, so he knows that. So it's not as, I think it's scary for some parents, especially if you're coming from a small town and then going to school in a big city. That can be really overwhelming. It can be overwhelming for anyone. I'm sure he's a little bit overwhelmed, but he's more comfortable, or he's used to urban environments and understands how bus systems and the train works.
And has been on a public bus, with other types of people and stuff like that, right? And a train and stuff like that, right? Well, I remember, I think I went off to India or something when he was 5 or something like that, and I remember, feeling really guilty about it. And then when I came back, I think I said to him, "Did you miss me?" And he said, "No, I knew where you were."
Well, he was here home with me.
Yeah, he was home.
It wasn't like he
you.
was away and alone. He had.
Yeah, but so I don't, now I know where he is, so I can't really miss him. You know what I mean? The thought is like, well, why would I miss him? I know where he is. I'm learning from him. You don't have to miss somebody if you know where they are. You get it?
I don't actually.
How do you not get it? And what are you writing?
I write notes about the show, so when I have to put notes, notes, I have to, so I can remember.
Smart. How do you not understand that? I
understand what you're saying, but it doesn't make sense, because it's like missing someone isn't about not. So I would be upset if I didn't know where he was, and I have been. I mean, that happened just the other day.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're not responding to me. You disappeared. You've been gone for 6 hours. And it's like, oh, I drove to Chicago. And it's like, what? I mean, I know you had talked about going on Sunday, but then it's like you just disappeared on Monday and didn't say, oh, I'm leaving. I'm taking the car. I'm driving up to Chicago. And it's like, okay, well, and so I didn't know where he was, and he wasn't responding. That's to me, well, I guess that's not missing someone, but it is. That's upsetting to me, not knowing where they are.
Yeah.
Missing someone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you know where they are. If you miss them, it means that you miss their presence in your life, like nearby, right?
Yeah, but that's like the joke, is that you don't have to miss somebody because I mean, I guess you could miss somebody's presence in front of you, but like again, he didn't hang around with us that much. So.
Well, yeah, he's definitely independent.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's what was comforting me. And our last rat just died, like a week before that, right?
Yeah.
He
Did the
left.
rat die before?
Yeah.
Since the last episode, so the rat was sick.
Yeah.
And the rat died. Yeah.
Yeah.
About a week before he
we
left.
had the rat put down, so that cost $300. That's like, I was thinking, if we could just call your mom because she would kill it. Right? Because she
kills mice. She does not kill rats.
Rats. Oh, okay. And then I was, like I haven't cleaned up from the rat cage. The rat cage is still in Graham's room. I'm planning on cleaning it this weekend unless I'm deathly ill from COVID and laying in bed all weekend.
Do you miss the rat?
Well, yes, I do miss the rat. I miss the rat's presence because I spent every day I spent like an hour with that stupid rat.
Do you know where the rat is?
Yeah, he's in heaven.
But you still miss him.
Yeah. I was coming to terms with that, right? Like I'm the one in the family who would go, yeah, Danny Ingram is saying sorry about the rat. Brings new meaning to empty nest. It sure does. It's I would go so every day I made it a point to play with the rat at least 20 minutes 2 times the day. So in the morning I would take him out, and then in the evening I would take him out, and I'd let him run around like a floor that, well, he had rugs too. And he's potty trained for the most part, so he would go on his tray and poo in his tray and stuff. The rat isn't Graham, no. Rat is Winston. Hi, Joe.
I actually noticed the other day is that my headphones that I use for Radio Zero have been chewed on by the rats. Yeah, I must have left them hanging
down.
And
yeah, he liked to.
I wasn't thinking of him being in this room, but he was. He drapes around in here and chomp on my headphone cables.
But he would always run, like he'd go in my hand and then he'd run, I could pet him and stroke him and stuff, but then he would always run to the back of my neck. He always wanted to just lay on the back of my neck. And then we would go walking around the house. We took walks around the house a couple of times a day and stuff. And it's just really lovely animal. And that they're really, really smart. You can tell that they're smart, and that they get depressed if you're not playing with them and stuff. So now I'm talking myself out of getting more rats because they are kind of stinky. They are kind of stinky, yeah. Do you miss them, the rat?
No, I don't. It felt like a responsibility, like when you were gone and I had to take care of it.
Oh my God, yeah, it was a huge responsibility all the time. Yeah.
And I did not like I like cats, and I somewhat tolerate dogs, but like the rat and the crawling up on your neck and the chewing on your toes, and they're just
he's into chewing on your toes.
The rat interaction for me was not
pleasing.
Yeah, not pleasing, and I didn't. I mean, I felt bad for him, and I gave him a couple of pets before he passed away, and checked on him, and I mean, I had sympathy for him.
Yeah.
Right, but I did not have a bond like I would have had with a cat.
Yeah.
Right. I had a couple of cats when I was a kid, and I had strong bonds with those cats, but the rat is, I just didn't like the interaction. It was not ideal for me. I prefer the more distanced cat interaction.
Thoughts on the rat pedal? Yeah, I had a rat pedal, Joe. I did. I used to have a rat pedal, and then I went to a heavy metal pedal because that's what all the posers in the Ohio scene used.
Heavy metal pedal was great for bass.
Yeah, rat was a little bit. The rat pedal was a little treblier, right?
Yeah, I never got along with rat pedals either for guitar.
I liked it. It was it's nice because the rat pedal had like a little like post that stuck up in the middle of it, so you could stamp on it. I believe.
Oh yeah.
And then the other pedals were I guess the Boss pedals are all like the same
Yeah.
So and yeah, it was nice. The matte finish on the rat pedal. This I'm actually talking about like music wares. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Boss HM2 Heavy Metal 2. Yeah, I got a
Is
couple
it a heavy
of those.
metal too, or
I
is
think
it?
it's Heavy Metal 2. I think. Oh, or maybe it's a heavy metal. I don't know.
You've got the valuable one.
Oh, and I have two of them,
Two
right?
of them. I think you have the ones that are sought after.
Mike Moraski had those also, I believe. We each had two,
For
like
guitar,
a backup.
or was it Dale for bass?
And then I think it was Mike that had them.
Mike used them for guitar.
Yeah,
Interesting.
But fuzz pedals, yeah. So
I had a Maestro fuzz, like the Maestro, what was his name? Who was the guitar player in the lead guitar player
Sting?
in Thin White Rope? Not Guy, but the
Roger
Kunkel, right?
Yeah.
So I have the wedge with the dials that are on either side, so you could control the volume and the distortion with your foot, and it was a giant wedge, like huge, like the size of your foot.
It's the size of a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Kind of. What's the name of that pedal?
It's a Maestro fuzz pedal, but it's slightly.
Yeah.
It's the mid '70s version. They had a couple of pedals. I think they had a face or two that had the kind of weird side foot dials, so you could tweak them. And I remember he had one, and so it was like, oh, I have to get one of those.
One more thing about Derry King having left was, when you said that you'd walked him around and you guys went to the library and there was like a floor in the library that has it's like the film library or something.
Yeah.
And Rick said he got a little emotional there.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't fully understand why, but it was like the librarian was talking about how many titles they have, but you couldn't see that. But then when we walked around, it was just all the books were either bound scripts, so it was just like it was like Sounder. I'm trying to think of all the movies. I was just looking at the S section, and it was so many different scripts bound, and then also film criticism, right? And biographies, film biographies. And so usually you go to a library and you see that, and it's like one section, right? And this was a whole floor. And so that was, he was impressed by that.
I when I talked to him, he said he wept. He
Yeah.
actually said he wept. And that made me cry a little bit. I was like, oh, because that's what he does. Like for years, he's been writing scripts and stuff like that. And then to be in a well, this is how I felt when I walked into the music library at U of I.
That's what I said. Yeah, the music library. Well, you like print music, but for me, the records.
Oh yeah, like they're like the whole record room. You can just go and check out a record and listen to it. Any record. And for me, it was the scores, like any song that I ever This was back in the 1980s, so you couldn't just download music like a score off the internet, print music. You couldn't, So if your teacher didn't hand you, that song that you wanted to play, then you wouldn't have access to it. And then to get to U of I and to walk into the music building, into the music library, and not Smith Music Hall, the music building, and just a whole library full of all the music that you've ever wanted. I remember just kind of being overwhelmed. I couldn't believe it. Libraries. There's an architecture library too at U of I.
Oh yeah, that was the thing about U of I's. They had separate
libraries
buildings. They had the main library, and then they had a few other libraries.
A bunch of other libraries on campus. Yeah. And then, I don't know if you guys know this. If you're not affiliated with the university, you may not know this, but we can, if we want to take out a book, we can take out a book from any other institution, of higher ed, learning institution from Illinois. So if I want a book in our library at ISU doesn't have it, I can just go on the iShare and then I can get it from anywhere. So that's really cool. So all right. So back to so we had a faculty meeting today. Right? And then I was very lucky that I booked 2 hours for the faculty meeting. I can't believe you guys actually come to them and listen to me. It's amazing to me. I guess it feels like an imposter, but like not in a bad way. It's just like, why are they listening to me?
Well, it's actually, it's an expectation. It's part of your service.
Is to go to the faculty meetings.
Yeah. People who skip faculty meetings are tenured.
Well,
yeah, or they're not.
Yeah.
The assumption is that you attend faculty meetings.
Well, anyway, it's nice. I hope
self-governance, man.
I hope it was useful. But the second hour, we went into our storage facility and just like we're going through all this old stuff that we've had for years and years. So I didn't. Okay, so the huge like the MIDI keyboards we had. I don't know how many of them we had. And I didn't count either. I stupidly didn't count, like 15 of them or 20 or something like that. And that's what I remember walking. That's another thing I remember walking into Centennial West 315 on my first day. That's where I was teaching. I was teaching my class, and there were computers set up. I'm sure there's a Radio Zero about this. There were computers set up, and then you would pull out, like underneath the desk, there's like a little tray, and there was the computer keyboard there, so it was hidden, so it wasn't in the way. And then underneath that tray, there was another tray in this computer room, and that tray had keyboards, like piano keyboards, MIDI keyboards. And I was like, oh, because I'd never seen like a music lab I'd never seen a computer lab with like, keyboards attached to it, like, MIDI or music keyboards. That was really that. I was like, oh, I'm home. It was really neat. So
it made me want to look up again. There used to be like this keyboard that had both the alphanumeric keyboard, the QWERTY keyboard, and then a MIDI keyboard attached to it, so you could have both. But I think that fell by the wayside, that combo.
How about, have you ever used one of those keyboards where there's no keys, it just projects and then like it detects where you tap and stuff?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I've always wondered what that was like.
Well, apparently there's an Apple patent that's gone out of stealth mode, that is how to make a flat screen touch screen keyboard, but then it has haptic feedback that makes it feel like keys. So you have the sensation of keys, but you're just tapping on the touch screen.
Oh, because it's a touch screen.
It's a touch screen, but then it like creates little. It's like maybe it's a divoted touch screen. I can't remember. It was some kind of patent where it was like, it's gonna be a touch screen, but it's not. But it gives you some feedback that makes you feel like you're touching keys.
All right. So it was just fun to see like 10 professors like milling around this tiny little COVID-inducing space. With and you were wearing your mask, but just like trying to figure out, do we keep this? What were some of the? Was there anything in there that you were like, oh, yeah? Because somebody's like one of the associate deans asked me, like, did you find any hidden gems?
There are things that are like like a old, what is it called? Panasonic 3700 DAT machine, which like every studio had 25 years ago. I mean, there's like nostalgia stuff, and then there's, old like an Ensoniq sampler, rack-mounted sampler with the 3/4 inch floppy drive. And I still have my Ensoniq sampler with that, but mine was a little more recent than that, but still from the early 90s, right? So it's not. And then what else? Oh, some of the weird, like high-end synthesizer gadgets that the Volition people donated to us, but we're like looking at them and going, I don't think we're going to be able to hook these up to any modern computer. Yeah. Lots of FireWire things. Yeah, and like looking it up, and it's like, oh, this, people are buying these for $400 on Reverb, and it's like, well, we can't sell them. The state of Illinois can sell them.
Yeah. But
it's also like, we're not going to use this audio interface. I'm not going to hook up a FireWire cable to a FireWire to Thunderbolt adapter and then connect that to a Thunderbolt 1 to Thunderbolt 3 adapter, like have two adapters and hook it to a computer to try to get this thing working when we have newer things. So yeah, but a lot of this stuff is stuff that like theater got rid of. But then there's some interesting old school like Yamaha synth engines and.
Did you guys keep those things, or
yeah?
did
So
you
we
keep
kept
some
all
stuff?
the interesting, like some basic interesting stuff. Like we did not keep all 5 graphic equalizers. We kept one of them, where it was like, oh, if a student wants to learn or someone wants to teach graphic EQ or EQ, right? We'll have analog one, that somebody can. Change the faders and learn what frequency
that's
is what.
nice.
That's great, but there's no reason for us to keep the other 5 of them. So we just picked one and then surplused the other 5 because it's not like anyone's going to be using those, that many of them. Right?
I should have we should have all gone to surplus first, like just to see. So when I was there looking for chairs and there was a harpsichord there, and I was like, there's a harpsichord there. And I know where it came from. I figured it came from the School of Music, and they're getting rid of it because it's ancient and probably water damaged because pipes keep breaking in the buildings.
It's just a pain in the ass to maintain. So harpsichords are a pain in the ass, and then they'd have to have it in a room that is much more climate controlled.
Right.
So basically, I mean, I think they do have someone who maintains instruments, right? But it's just kind of like for the amount of time and effort it takes to keep that, and the amount of times someone uses the harpsichord, it was probably just not worth it. And they probably might have another one.
I'm sure they have at
More
least
than
one
one.
other. Yeah, 'cause I think that's what they had said.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, if we have an orchestra, we're performing, and then it needs us, because we did see a performance a couple years ago before COVID. It was it the Illinois Symphony? What's the symphony that played in Champaign, and the kids' violin teacher played in it. They did a piece with a harpsichord, and so they rolled out the harpsichord. But I think that's what it's like. You don't need more than one, right?
That was at Cranert though.
Right.
That wasn't here.
What I'm saying is that
you don't.
There are occasions where you might need a harpsichord, but unless somebody is spending their whole time working on the harpsichord and playing the harpsichord, you don't need. Yeah, you just need to keep one.
Choose a different song to play, or just use a MIDI harpsichord.
Yeah, that's a little sad.
Well, that's good. Oh, I'm glad. So you guys must have felt. I was just watching everybody grab stuff, and the newer professors were, grabbing Arduinos and stuff like that. There were Arduinos sitting in a box that could have been thrown out, and it wasn't. It's like,
well, yeah, that stuff.
I think those were my Arduinos.
Stuff that can be used. That was the whole point, is to go through everything, because we're renovating spaces and we need to move stuff temporarily, and so it's like just going through the piles of crap that have accumulated and no one's ever going to use, or that we kind of said, oh, sure, we'll take all that stuff from some other school or department, and then realizing, we're not going to use it. We don't need a bunch of FireWire audio interfaces from 15 years ago.
And you're supposed to surplus stuff if you haven't used it for 2 years. You're supposed to give it up because otherwise you're hoarding it, and some other part of the state might want it. And then for the stuff that they feel like they can sell, they will auction off in Springfield.
Yeah.
And for the stuff that they think they can't, there's like an amazing shredder that shreds everything, I guess. they throw like the guy was talking about throwing zip drives and jazz drives into it, and then somebody else talked about them having a giant magnet that erases stuff.
Oh yeah. If you're not going to reuse the hard drive, right?
Yeah.
Instead of doing a software wipe, it's just you just stick it on the magnet to wipe it. That was the thing, is I remember at U of I when we were still living there, and then they redid the bowling alley in the Union.
Oh.
And the bowling alley was beautiful. It was from the 60s. It was like an early 60s Brunswick bowling alley. And then they ripped all that stuff out and, turned it into, whatever cosmic bowl, that kind of awful plasticky looking, modern bowling alley.
Yeah.
And we were asking the people who were bowling, can I get the the old school projector? Can I get one of these stations with the seats? Can I grab that? And they were like, no. In fact, that's the way it works. Is like you can't throw, and then it's like, well, can you tell us when you throw it away and we can just come by and pick it up? And it's like, well, no, actually, it's against the law.
Yeah.
I think it's a felony to steal garbage
from the state.
From the state institution.
State
because
money.
And the guy explained to me, well, it's like, well, you could buy something and then throw it away and go to the dumpster and take it for your house, right? It's like a way of buying equipment.
Money
getting,
laundering.
Equipment laundering, basically. Getting stuff for yourself, and then, oh well, I threw that away, and it's like they have to track everything, and then they have to auction off. But I was super bummed out that now in our house we don't have a full Brunswick bowling alley station.
There's a USB guitar that one of the students had taken home, had been using in his dorm room last semester, and we're surplusing that. And I was like, oh man, I'll bet some student would want that. In fact, maybe I may contact that student, see if he still wants to use it for the next semester.
I don't even understand. So it's like a guitar synth. It's got the guitar synthy tracking, but you just plug it in USB. You don't need the.
I guess I don't know.
It's not MIDI. It's
I don't know
USB.
Who bought it. I wonder who bought it. I think it was good though, because it's kind of. To me, it feels like it connected our newer professors to our older. It connects our program to what it was back in the day. Like, look at it's kind of like a longevity and just a connection to what we had before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm really glad everybody helped, because there's no way there was 12 professors working on this stuff. There's no way I could have done any of that by myself. And I do see half of it's still in it just got a lot of it got moved into the new music production room, right?
Yeah. So there's still valuable stuff and stuff that needs to be tested, and if it works, we can use it. But there was what the good part is just getting rid of all the junk that kind of piled up. I mean, there was a situation where even the cameras, where it was we had the cameras that we bought, but then somebody just gave us a pile of camera shit that they wanted to get rid of, and it's even one of them said does not work on it, and it's just well, why did we wind up with a cabinet full of this shit?
Did those people get a tax break on that?
No, yeah, it's
a donation tax break?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's like anything.
You can
it's
you can probably put. Did you find any camera lenses? Oh, I interrupted
camera
you,
lenses.
Sorry. Yeah, any useful ones?
Well, yeah, we have good stuff.
Okay.
And useful stuff, and we kept all that.
Okay.
That's why I had to be there, because it's
oh,
do we need these? And it's yeah, I think so. The problem is not if no one's using the cameras, it's because they don't know
that they exist.
That they exist.
Yeah, that's exactly same with all the Arduinos and all the other stuff. So it was good that I think that was great that all our new professors got to see all that stuff. And some professors who'd been there for 3 years. So, okay. But enough about our program, which we love. So what have you been doing this week besides getting COVID?
Well, I taught classes.
Yeah, how did that go for you?
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. I feel like I've been doing it for long enough that it's pretty.
Oh, that's right. You are up for the University Teaching Award, right? You won the College Teaching Award
last year.
You won the College Teaching Award last year, an award that I was nominated for also once, but did not win. Rick won it, and so now you're up for the University Teaching Award,
which I will not win.
Oh, did you see who your competition was, and you decided?
It doesn't matter. It's university wide. The kind of people who win are the superstar. I think I'm a good teacher, but I don't think I have a particularly.
You're not publicized.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just kind of I just teach stuff, and I'm organized, and I try to make sure that people learn everything, and I think about what I teach, but I'm not
talking me out of making my. So in order to win one of these, you have to do a huge portfolio. You a whole teaching portfolio, and I know that you just turned yours in.
I had to. That was the thing. Is last year for the college one, I had to do it, but then I also had to put in my application for full professor, so it helped to have that. So that to me now, all these things, it's oh yeah, write a grant proposal or, enter your, or, finish your portfolio and submit it, for the award. It's not about winning. It's not about winning or losing. It's about getting that content together and forcing yourself to write that content. And then the next thing that comes up, you can use that content.
Yeah.
So that's what's been happening to me lately is like, I hate writing and it takes me forever. It's like pulling teeth, but it's like, oh, when I like the stuff I did a year ago, now I can look back at it and, I can use all this and I just have to edit it or, modify a bit. I don't have to go through the pain of generating everything from scratch. And
so how would you feel if you did all that work and you didn't even win the college one and then somebody asked you to redo it again? Like,
well, for me, it didn't matter because I was going for full professor. And so I had to use a lot of that stuff I wrote and I reworked it for my promotion application.
I'll try to,
and you're going to have to write, an evaluation of yourself as director, right? And
yeah, but not my teaching. This is a teaching award.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess I could write teaching stuff. I don't know. Like it's something I do without trying to win an award for. So it's like it feels kind of like why do I need to justify it? I'm obviously doing it right. But okay. So all right, so let's move on. What else is in the Rick? What's going on in your life this week?
Boy, I can't think of. I feel like
weeks.
we've already talked about things I've done. A lot of that.
Okay. Well, what have you been watching?
What did I watch? I watched already the first 2 episodes of the show where Steve Carell and Domhnall Gleeson, right? Brendan Gleeson's son, the red-haired guy, who you know from Star Wars, the evil.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
He plays a.
I like the character though.
Yeah, he plays a serial killer that kidnaps his therapist and chains him to a bed, or chains him, in his basement, and he wants to get cured, and so he couldn't. He started the first episode is him going to the therapist in his office, and then he finally just decides I can't be honest. He basically says I can't be honest with you in the office, and so he that's what his rationale for kidnapping the therapist, who's played by Steve Carell, and imprisoning him in his house, and they're going to have therapy sessions to cure him. And I was like, but it's written by the people who did The Americans, which is a show that I liked, but also sometimes it was definitely borderline where it was like, do I really need to keep watching this? Like it had good stuff and had really great stuff, but then sometimes it was just like, this is kind of stupid. And so I was unsure, but I tried it and it was good. And Domhnall Gleeson does a good American accent and is really funny, like in the driest way possible. It's very funny. It's not supposed to be funny, or it's funny in a very dark way. Where it's like, I know, I'm sorry, it's terrible, but I really couldn't think of another way of solving this problem. And he also says, there's a great one, I went to 3 Jewish therapists and you were the best. It's like, and it's like, oh, that's going to come to fruition. There's, it's just like, oh, what great juicy stuff is going to come out of that, just passing comment that at some point is going to, because also the Steve Carell character, his wife is dead, of course, and then his daughters, he's like leaving phone messages for his daughter who's at college, and then his son has become an Orthodox Jew, and they're not communicating really, and so that's the way he can wind up getting kidnapped, and no one so that's the other problem is the poor therapist character. It seems like nobody's going to notice he's gone.
Oh wow, that's interesting. That's
and yeah, so and then there's a huge conflict. So there are, and yeah, I read an interview with the writers and they said, oh yeah, no, it's important. Yeah, the Jewish stuff, like him being a Jewish therapist, they were like, oh yeah, no, that's important.
How come you don't hate Jews? That's what, and by don't hate Jews, I mean like you even married one. You're not a Jew. Your family's not Jewish.
I was raised. I mean, my parents grew up on the south side of Chicago, which was a really diverse neighborhood. So, and they were not.
So there were Jews there.
Yeah, and African Americans. Their neighborhoods were in transition. Like my dad went to CVS, which is an inner city school. People consider, and my mom, yeah.
So
I mean, and so they lived in a really super diverse neighborhood, and yeah, we're just city people from the 40s and 50s, and then they went to college, so they were liberal people. So they didn't have a problem with Jews, and they had occasionally had problems with overzealous Christians, I think, but they were Christians, So it was like
your parents, yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you tell them that I was a Jew? Like, what were you like? Oh, and she's a Jew.
I don't think it ever came up really.
Okay.
They probably just knew. It was probably just obvious. Oh no, we knew.
It's Dow wears his Star of David that we got in Israel around. He's kind of proud of being a Jew, I guess.
Maybe they didn't know until they met Arlene and Marty.
Marshak, yeah, real obvious.
No, they.
I'm trying to
my aunt, right? My aunt thought you were Italian.
Oh, that's right. And your aunt is Italian, so that's a compliment.
Yeah, so that's the thing too. Is
you're a diverse people in your family. You're a melting pot.
Yeah, we came
from.
So that's the thing is our family. Yeah, so my mom's
melting pot of East European
immigrants,
or West European.
All immigrant families in Chicago. So it's not Chicago.
They were tolerant.
I wouldn't say that. I was.
But your family's really tolerant. Your family was really tolerant. Yeah. My parents are like, we got to do for the wedding. My parents are like, we got to do some kind of Christian thing for your parents. And you're like, they don't care. Just
I don't know. I don't know if that was true.
Well, we had a candle, and you were like, my mom doesn't know what the candle is for.
Yeah, there are all sorts of different Christian traditions, and
No. All right. Well, sorry, sidetracked, side railed here. Phil. And so I was going to talk about something that I was watching. I'm watching, since I'm such a Marvel fan, and since I'm waiting for Andor, and I'm waiting for the new Cobra Kai.
When is that Andor thing coming out? It seems like you've been waiting for Andor forever.
And I haven't watched all of the. Well, if I get sick with COVID, I'm going to just lay in bed and watch all of the. Because I'm still haven't finished the what are they called? The cartoon. Now I can't even think what it's called.
Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars, yeah. Jesus Christ. But I was watching the She-Hulk, the attorney at law, and I think it's the funniest fucking thing in the world. I was laughing. I think I was heartily laughing. We're doing the podcast on the Sabbath. That's right, because this is like going to.
Is it sunset yet?
To synagogue.
It's pretty close.
Danny, are you a Jew? I wonder if he's a Jew. Ingram? Nah. Anyway,
that sounds pretty waspy.
Damn it,
Ingram.
Every time I touch, okay.
That was Graham Parsons' family name, right? Ingram. That's why he was Graham.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's hysterical. They break the fourth wall, and it's like she's like, the only reason I love it. It's like a given that there are superheroes now, and it's you kind of need, now they're going to court and stuff. Oh, he is a son of a Holocaust survivor. Wow. All right, that's impressive. You're Jewisher than I am then. But back to She-Hulk, attorney at law. Do you think you're better than me for hating Marvel stuff? And I know you don't hate it, you just don't care. But how can you differentiate? Never mind. I don't want to get into it.
So I've seen lots of entertainment that breaks the fourth wall. I've seen lots of legal dramas.
So have I.
You heard me say,
but
the
have
ponytail.
You ever seen a She-Hulk?
She-Hulk's ponytail, that's a reference to Better Call Saul. You know, it's like, so it's kind of, to me, it's just like, and so for all of the things
it's
they're
derivative.
doing. Yeah, and then on top of it, it's like, okay. And
it's
then
derivative,
the novel,
but it's within the MCU, and I like that. I
the
like
novel
it.
thing is that it's a lawyer. She's a woman, and she's large and green.
I think it's hysterical. It's so funny. I don't know why. I think it's what else? What made me laugh yesterday with it? I was laughing.
You know, honestly, I want my Hulks going from town to town, being chased by a reporter, and always having to leave because they're a monster.
Wait,
and people don't understand them.
Oh, they had an elf too. There was an elf in it. That it's everything I like. It's like they're pillaging my psyche to just target stuff at me. I think that's what they're doing. Actually, now I'm starting to get paranoid. I just want to laugh and have fun. What's this now? I'm getting like Snapchat. I got to get off Snapchat because that's another thing I downloaded and never use. Okay, so Philip Seidner says poster children test pressings.
Oh yeah. So we got our test pressing back. Test pressings. We're
You really made Bob Weston work on that mastering.
Bob Weston wanted to work on it. To be fair,
all right. So it's let's explain what it is. It's flower plower.
Yes.
Flower plower.
So what we're doing is the original vinyl of Flower Plower that came out in 1989, I believe. Just had 8 songs on it. It was a mini LP. It had four of the Ian Burgess sessions we had done with Shannon, our first drummer, like in 1988, and then
Flower Plower. Funny.
four of the Steve Albini sessions that we had done the next year with Brendan. And so we made a mini LP that came out on Limited Potential Records. And then when it got re-released on CD through Frontier Records a few years later, we added another 7 tracks onto it.
Yeah, where did all those come? Those were
all from the Ian
Burgess
sessions. So when we first recorded with Ian,
so Ian Burgess recorded Big Black and Naked Reggae.
In 1988, we recorded a full album's worth of material with Shannon. So that was,
and so that's what made up the CDs, the Flower Plower CDs. So now this is a re-release of Flower Plower vinyl
remaster. One record's going to be the original 8-song lineup, right? Track listing, 4 songs on each side of the original Flower Plower vinyl release, and then the second LP with the 7 additional Ian session songs that were on the CD, and then 2 demo sessions we did before the Steve stuff.
Oh, what are the 2 demo sessions?
Wana and Byron's song. So it's different versions of Wana and demos of Wana and Byron's song
that we just did by ourselves. Or?
Yeah, Brendan recorded it.
Oh, okay.
He had gotten an 8-track.
I love those. I love Byron's song.
Fostex reel-to-reel 8 tracks. So
which we probably just surplused today.
No, we didn't have anything like that. Matthew's got one of the old tape machines, just a stereo reel-to-reel in his office. He's keeping that.
Oh, and we're gonna bundle these 2 record. It's like a double record set, and you could buy that in my book for real cheap, right?
Yeah. So it's gonna be Flower Plower, 2 discs. One is black, and the other will be what is it called? Natural white vinyl. So it's kind of a creamy, transparent color. So the second LP will be that. And
is there going to be an essay?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless you're going to write one. And then a double record, like a
there's a book,
vinyl or a jacket that holds 2 records, like a 1999, right? The 1999 double record sleeve, or I think was Sign of the Times. Yeah, Sign of the Times.
Danny's got a Flower Plower T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll
we
come
know
out.
you do. Yeah.
That'll come out. That'll come out. Around the same time as your book.
Do you think I have to worry about like if I said something stupid in my book and then people are gonna get mad at me?
I don't know. Did you say anything like that? I don't
Well, I
remember.
did. There was like when I sent stuff to Ian. I was like, here, I wrote all this, about you, by the way. And then he was like, you can't say, yeah, there's a date for the book. It's like February 28th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like, you can't. I think I called like I was saying the. I use the word self-righteous, I think, about like people who were, like people like me. Like I was saying that I was self-righteous, and Ian didn't like that. He thought that was an insult to people, to the other people who I was calling self-righteous, so I had to change that.
Yeah, I mean,
just because our boss, the director of the School of Music, asked when my book was coming out, so she knows apparently that I have a book coming out. I guess she would. And so it starts out with like the word ass in it, like the word ass is in the first sentence. What have I done, Rick?
honestly,
No
the
one's going to
people
read it, yeah.
No, the people who want to read it are going to read it, and then
Yeah.
there are other people who just need to know that you've written a book.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's been
true.
published.
Yeah.
And so the likelihood that there's an intersection of those people, like
is very, very, yeah. Actually,
some of your peers at our institution may want to read your book, but the reality is that's it's more about the fact that you wrote the book. That's, I think, important.
Okay. Yeah, I can't think of anybody who I can't think of the intersection. All right. So anything else?
I don't think so.
A plug for I really like the newest episode 6 of Forced, a podcast with Sarah and Rose. I'm the Rose in that, and it's with Sarah Garibaldi of Homesteading with Aunt Beru.
Are you doing a weekly episode?
No,
It's every 2 weeks?
well, at this time now it's every 3 weeks, just because I was busy this week.
And you've done
it's like
6
really busy.
episodes, so it's been...
well, the third episode is episode 6. So we started with episode 4. So,
Yeah.
and then we had episode 5, and this is episode 6. Tina Nixon's given me a peace sign, and a happy smile. And yeah, I can't remember what we talked about, but I when I listened to it again, I was happy with it. So
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what are your plans for this week?
I don't know, probably sleep, rest.
See what it's like to have COVID?
Yeah, I was going to do music stuff, but probably not.
What kind of music stuff? You got a new album in the sack. You got a bun in the oven?
No, not really. I'm working on things, but then I also got to work on this Salaryman
The
stuff.
Salaryman stuff. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have Salaryman show coming up here.
It'd be great to do something like a poster children's song or two, even if it's a digital release around your book release, but that will require work on my part.
Well, if work is required, you're the best person to do it because you're a good, hard worker.
Thank you. I think we're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. I guess we both feel kind of shitty. So next week will be better.